Hi everybody and welcome to the Ben Taylor podcast, the home of marine industry insights. This content is brought to you by Superyacht Services Guide, a worldwide trusted directory of superyacht services so that people on board can find trusted, reliable services that can support their yacht. Today we've got quite a technical conversation with Geetech. I'm here with Martin. Good to see you, Martin.
Hi Ben, thanks for coming.
You're very, very welcome. So give us some context. What is Geetech all about? What do you guys do?
So Geetech started back in 2012 and we specialise amongst lifting and working at height predominantly.
Onboard yachts across quite a broad range of cases, yeah.
Exactly. So one side of the company is the compliance and certification side of things. And we look at a worldwide service in order to be able to offer a complete service to large yachts wherever they are in the world, to undertake their annuals and 5-yearly servicing and compliance works.
Yeah. So this is really interesting because already you can see this is a business to do with need rather than want.
Yeah.
You have to comply. You're not leaving the dock unless your equipment is certified. You've ticked these boxes, happy days.
Exactly, yeah.
So what kind of, so you mentioned lifting, that's kind of a core part of the business. What kind of compliance do your cranes, lifts, davits have to have on board?
So obviously there's the lifting regs for normal lifting appliances. We've also, for any LSA operated lifting appliance or equipment, such as rescue boats, lifeboats, life raft davits, we have to follow IMO resolution 402/96, which is quite strict and requires class approval and various manufacturers' approval for each equipment.
Okay, and who can give the equipment that certification? Can crew on board do that? Does it have to be your team or what?
No, they're not the competent person. So under lifting regulations,
Yeah.
they are they're the user.
Yeah.
And as an inspection company, it is the competent person that has the knowledge through analytical means or has been trained by the manufacturer that can make that assessment and judgment on this.
Right, okay. So for example, you work quite a lot with Harken.
Yes.
With their technical equipment, it's only certain approved people who can say, this is installed correctly, it's correctly maintained, you can use it.
So for the Harken access tracks and pad eyes, for example, each of the Harken suppliers that has an approval to fit, to maintain, to inspect and to test their equipment on board the yachts, whether they're access tracks or the pad eyes. And it's even such that if you're not Harken approved, Harken will not sell you the access track, so you can't just do it yourself.
Right, okay. And we've talked a little bit about the company before we got on camera, and you talked about this whole, well, quite a lot of companies, especially inspection companies, they'll say, okay, that's not approved, you need to do this repair work, you need this part, and then they kind of leave.
Yeah.
So essentially what's happened there is they've turned up, given them about a whole load of problems to solve,
exactly,
and left them alone.
Yeah.
How do you guys go a little bit beyond that?
The drive when I set up Geetech was to be like a one-stop shop. So not only a company coming in and giving you a pass or fail certificate, and then leaving, say, the engineer or the chief officer with some failed certificates, which in some cases is potentially limiting the vessel or even blocking the vessel from going. Our technicians are trained also in fixing this equipment and apparatus. So very often or not, some of the very simple things we can fix maybe on site, either with the tools that they've got with them or the equipment that's actually on board, or we can very quickly schedule in a repair or a retest and get the vessel moving and get the vessel compliant.
Yeah, and so from the captain, the crew perspective, the management perspective, etc., you're no longer saying, sorry client, we can't leave, we can't do what you want to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Because we've not got the paperwork, we've not got it signed off or whatever.
Yeah.
You can now deliver that.
Yeah, we also have a very good knowledge of the regulations and how we can offer our services to the vessel to make sure the vessel is compliant in terms of, say, the access tracks. We have probably over 60 different methods pre-approved by Flag. So if we start a refit project, or you've got a paint job and you're looking to upgrade the access tracks or add additional pad eyes, we can see straight away, and we measure what material thickness you have, and we can very clearly and quickly have a process that's probably already signed off already.
Right, okay, so overnight they kind of inherit all this experience, the know-how and methodologies, and
Exactly,
then,
yeah.
your team turns up and just does it.
And for new build vessels, we're also looking at the design. As they become more complicated, the designs become more curvy, more fluid.
It's more difficult, isn't it? Yeah, you want a nice
The
straight
rope
line for a
access-
track to go along.
Yeah, the rope access becomes more difficult,
Yeah.
and the techniques and the equipment used becomes more difficult. So some of our existing clients, as they enter into new build projects or have done, they've sent us the drawings, we signed an NDA, and we look at the new build spec of the vessel, or even just the rendered view, and we give input to the new build team to feed it back to the shipyard to get these things implemented whilst the boat is still in the metal construction phase, before any paint or fairing has been applied.
Before it's too late,
Yeah.
essentially. And you do that for some quite substantial clients like Ocean Co, Lurson, some major new build shipyards.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And so how does that work when it comes to refit and repair? Is it similar yards? Are you kind of stuck with whatever's on board? How does that
We're doing
work?
a lot of projects in Northern Europe, in Germany and Holland.
Yeah.
And then we also work very closely with Amico, Monaco Marine and MB92, as these are all locally based for us in the Riviera.
Yeah, you've got this kind of stronghold. I mean, you've got an office here in Monaco, and then basically this Riviera is kind of your stronghold, but also out in Palma and cover work
Yeah, we have
all
our
around the world,
clients
right?
there. We attend Palma, Barcelona, Tarragona,
Yeah.
Cartagena. Last winter we did a lot of projects in Cartagena. The Middle East, we've always had a good stronghold there with the vessels that are stationed there, even before it became more fashionable the last 3 years to be.
Yeah, I've seen that
based
massive
there, yeah.
rise, but you were already on
We
the
were
scene
already
and
based there and
established.
doing the
Yeah,
projects
nice.
there, yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got quite a few partnerships with different brands. You've got Seaquip over here, Harken.
Yeah.
How do you work with them? How do those work?
They work with the utmost transparency. You know, we do a good job, a clear job with defined start, endpoints, and we're on the ground here locally. We touch a large number of vessels, at least every year, and we provide the maintenance that's needed for these vessels to keep them working successfully and compliant.
So it kind of comes back to that, knowing the equipment, you know the quality, you know the installation method so well, and you're so familiar with it. It's kind of helps the brand, helps the products,
And
helps you guys,
the
helps
boats.
the client.
You just got to keep the boats going,
Yeah.
keep the boats moving. So yeah.
Yeah. The worst possible situation when they're stuck in dock because,
Exactly,
the
Yeah.
crane's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had July and August is predominantly the period where we're getting the emergency call outs for these kind of issues, and quite often or not it's the vessels that have not undertook the proper maintenance during the winter periods.
Yeah. And so what happens in that case? So, captain's on the phone, help. What can you do? Does it tend to be a flyer specialist out there, find local support? How does that work?
Yeah, it can be. It can be getting on a ferry with the van to Sardinia. It can be flying to the other side of the world. It can be just driving down the road to Antibes or to Monaco. But you're usually undertaking large, kind of like refit type works in a very constrained period of time, probably with guests on board, and are always conscious that you've put the minimum of protection on the vessel, or you're trying to organise cranes or cherry pickers and side two berths last minute to undertake these works, and maybe you literally are queuing on the dock waiting for the guests to get off as you get on.
Yeah, it's pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, yeah. I imagine charters. I taking a guess here. I think charter would be more stressful than a private owned one. But maybe not actually.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
So
an
it's-
allotted time. You have to be done. Say, you know, it's 8 o'clock the next morning. The engines are starting and they're throwing the lines. So
yeah.
you've got to be
And if it's
finished.
not done, then it's kind of an absolute.
And we've had a few projects where we've had to do. The boats had a 1-day turnaround, and we've had to get the job done. And our team has been organised, and they're waiting for the boat when it arrives on the quay, and the guys work through the night.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of it's kind
So
of
the
the
job's
hardcore
finished, yeah.
reality of delivering this is, there's going to be late nights, it's going to be last minute calls,
Yeah.
but you get there and do it. That's the key bit.
Just got to get the projects done on time.
Yeah. And so where's Geetech going? I always like to wrap up with a bit of a vision looking forward. So Geetech, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, what's the kind of core growth of the company? Where's that coming from?
I think part of the growth we're going to see is you see more vessels becoming aware of the compliance needs. They're getting a little bit more organised, and some of the management companies are as well. Some of the regulations are getting a little bit tighter as well from different flag states.
Right.
I think the awareness of working at height as well, especially on these more complicated design vessels and bigger vessels as well.
I was going to say bigger boats, more height,
Yeah, there's a greater need for the crew. You can't just bring the crew in and give them a load of a technical, professional
here's a harness, here's how it works, and then get them on. You can't do it.
And 10 minutes with a bosun. They need more time, they need better training and better understanding of why you do things a certain way.
Yeah. So really kind of keeping your eye carefully on that compliance side or the regulation, and then designing services around that, because people have to do it.
Exactly, and there's even with the vessel, the new build vessel or the refitted vessel that has new tenders, getting that tender to work correctly, fit correctly, and be compliant as well. That's a lot of work there, and people are dropping the ball with that.
Okay, Martin, thank you for coming on the podcast. I love a podcast where I learn a little bit. This is a super niche of the industry, so I love talking about it.
Thank you for coming by, Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Martin.
Bye.
Everybody, if you enjoy content like this, make sure you're following here to see plenty more of it. All being well, we'll see you again on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.